What up, dog? Today, let's talk about Hold on. First and foremost, get well soon. DeMar Hamlin, praying for you, bro. For sure, for sure. But today, let's talk about the Minnesota Vikings playing or resting their starters at Soldier Field in Week 18 of the last preseason game. I know Minnesota got a chance at the number two seed, even though they lost to Green Bay last week with San Francisco 49er losing to Arizona this week is the only way they get the number two seed and if they beat Chicago. But let's be for real. The 49ers, Kyle Shanahan, is not about to lose to Arizona Cardinals team who I don't even know who the hell the quarterback. I think the quarterback Colt McCoy. Come on, man. They not about to lose that damn game. Kyle Shanahan know if he win, he got the number two seed no matter what Minnesota do. So what the fuck? He ain't about to lose that damn game to no damn Arizona Cardinals. So the Minnesota Vikings should not play their damn starters on that grass at Soldier Field. Minnesota Vikings lost two or three offensive linemen at Lambeau on their damn field, on their grass. So why in hell would you jeopardize losing any more players just because you want to play them because you think you got a shot at the number two seed? No. You had a shot at the number two seed and you dropped the ball when you got your ass whooped last week at Lambeau Field. That's over with. Play your backup offensive defense players. Let them get all the reps they can get, especially that offensive line. Because Minnesota offensive line right now look like they made out of glass. But I see today Minnesota side a tackle from the round practice squad, if I'm not mistaken. And they signed the center from the Houston, Texas. You need to let all your backups and let them boys play. So our backups and them boys can get game ready for the playoff game against the New York Giants. And please, play with a new defensive scheme in this game against Chicago. You know Chicago want to run the ball with Justin Fields. So this is a good week for you to work on your run defense before you play Chicago. I don't want to see that same old ass, non-working defensive scheme out there in this last week. KOC need to pull that old ass man Ed to the side and tell him this dinner like a preseason game. So you need to run some new shit and see can that shit carry on to next week. Cause the shit you've been running for the past 17 weeks ain't been working, bruh. And the whole offensive line should be backups and backups. I don't want to see no starters playing. And the new people you just got from them other teams, they need to play a lot. So they can get familiar playing with Minnesota with the play calling and the offensive scheme and shit like that. So you need to let them boys play as much as possible. I don't care if Minnesota win or lose that game. I want them to win, of course, but I don't care. Some people talking about you don't want to lose going to the play. Who give a fuck? Minnesota won a division. They end the playoffs, and next week when everything really counts. If Minnesota go on the playoff run and win the Super Bowl, everybody gonna forget about all them ass whoop you took in the regular season for real. And this right here is a good time for KOC and everybody come up with a dog ass game plan because they got an extra week to prepare for the New York Giants at home in the playoffs. Because the Giants, who Minnesota mainly gonna play. So the Minnesota Vikings should not play no starters. I don't want to see nobody out there, offense or defense. Let all the backups play. Cause ain't no telling when the backups gonna have to come in and play. And we seen last week when Minnesota Vikings backup offensive linemen came in, man, they was not ready. Them boys look like they never played offensive line before. We cannot go through that shit again next week in the playoff when it's one and you done. Ain't no next week. It's over with. If you lose next week, it's over with. So Minnesota Vikings needs to work on a lot of shit with an extra week to prepare for the Giants. KOC, you need to dig back in that bag, or you need to make a phone call to Sean McVay and get some pointers on him on how you should prepare for the New York Giants. Cause don't bring that same ass game plan out next week. Everybody seen it. They gonna try to double Justin Jefferson, try to play man coverage, and they gonna try to do all that shit. They gonna come up with a whole new scheme because the Green Bay Packers showed you what to do to beat the Minnesota Vikings. So you need to do something different. For real. If Minnesota offensive line played like they played last week against Green Bay, nah. The Giants gonna beat their ass up front. I ain't gonna hold you up. So the Minnesota Vikings need to let all their backups play and get all the reps they can get in the last preseason game to get ready for this dog ass playoff run they about to be on. I already know it. But first, it starts with getting everybody on the same page and getting everybody game ready. So the Minnesota Vikings need to sit everybody who is the starters and let the backup play. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, and leave your comment. How do you feel about the Minnesota Vikings playing their starters or resting their starters in this last regular season game against the Chicago Bears?